Amazingly, most UK training companies still teach IT from workbooks and reference manuals. For most of us, this tends to be needlessly boring, drawn out and slow. Psychologists who've looked at learning tell us that we remember a lot more if we involve all of our senses, and if we get practically involved in what it is we're studying. So the answer is to find a course that uses multimedia CD and DVD ROMs, and always make sure you're shown some kind of demonstration from the training company. Your training materials should include videos of the instructors, live demonstrations and slideshows. It's generally best to avoid training that's purely online. You want actual physical CD or DVD ROM course materials so that you can use them whenever and wherever you want, and you're not totally reliant on your broadband connection. One thing that often gets overlooked by students is how the training is broken down. Typically, you'll join a program that takes 6 to 24 months, and you'll receive one element at a time until graduation. Now, this might sound logical on the surface, but what if you find that that specific structure doesn't suit you? And what if you don't finish all the modules inside of their set timescales? Ideally, you want all of your study materials up front, so that you can maybe vary the order, if you find another route that's more intuitive to you. You'll find that in-centre workshop days are often sold as a big benefit by many companies. But if you talk to most of the students who've used them, they'll tell you the opposite's true. You've got all that travelling, for instance, multiple trips and often hundreds of miles, and the classes are normally Monday to Friday, which means taking 2 or 3 days off work all the time. Well, if you've only got 20 days holidays a year, using half of that on training doesn't leave much for you. And don't forget the extra costs of travelling and accommodation either. Sometimes this runs into hundreds and even thousands of pounds extra. And maybe you'd like to work at your own pace, or maybe you want to keep your training private so there aren't any repercussions at work. And how do you honestly feel about asking questions in a class full of other people? All these reasons and more are why it's much simpler to watch and learn from pre-filmed classes, taking them when it's convenient for you and not someone else. You can redo the modules as many times as you want, and there's no need to take notes because you've already got the lesson. Quite simply, you'll save time, hassle and money. Offering exam guarantees is a popular sales gimmick at the moment, but if you examine the small print, you'll find out what's going on. Obviously, the exams aren't free, you are paying for them. They've just been included in your package price, which means of course that you're paying for them up front. Now you should know that a lot of profit is made by companies charging their exam fees at the start, and then hoping that you won't take them all. And they also control when and how often you can take that exam. They'll only allow a retake once they're completely satisfied that you're going to pass, otherwise they're losing that extra profit. So doesn't it make far more sense to find the best exam deal at the time, not to pay any markup to the training company, and to do it locally rather than in some remote centre? Pay for it when you need it and not before. The honest truth is that if a student pays for their own exams, one at a time, they'll be much more likely to pass first time, as they'll be conscious of the cost and they'll apply themselves appropriately. Why pay hundreds or even thousands of pounds extra for so-called exam guarantees, when common sense dictates that the best guarantee is study, commitment and good exam preparation? Many companies provide a job placement assistance service to help you get your first IT job. But often, too much is made of this, as it's really not that difficult for any motivated and trained person to get a junior role in the IT industry, as there's such a shortage of trained staff. You would ideally want CV and interview advice though, and we encourage students to get their CV updated the day they start training. Many support jobs are offered to students who are still studying and haven't even passed an exam yet. At least you'll be on the maybe pile of CVs rather than the no pile. The best way to get placed is through specialised and independent recruitment consultants. The bottom line is they only get paid when they place you, so they've got the necessary incentive. Many students, it seems, are prepared to study their hearts out for years sometimes, only to give up at the last hurdle when looking for their job. Market yourself, make an effort to get in front of employers. Don't expect that perfect job to just fall into your lap.